Okay, this is where we stopped. So we are in the Q&A microservice. So we're going to spin up a nodejs server, and we're going to be spinning it up with JavaScript. Then we enhance it with TypeScript. Then we keep going. Okay. So you see the way we went into the microservice for Q&A by simply saying cd. Cd simply means change directory to Q&A directory. So we are now in Q&A. So I'm going to simply say mp node package manager npm, and I'm going to ask for the version of the npm that I have. So by simply saying npm version, so I have the version of 8.19.2. So node package manager is going to help us to use packages, to bring in packages, to install packages like Axios, like Express, and other things that we're going to be using. So now I know that I have Node Package Manager. I'm going to check the Node version that I have by simply saying node dash dash version. So let me make sure that I have Node. Node is the runtime for uh, JavaScript. So I have version 19.0. So I now know that I have the things I need. So in order to initialize a project, in order to start up a project description or to start up a project in Node.js, you're simply going to say npm node package manager, please help me and initialize a project, npm init, and I'm going to say -y in order to answer yes for all the questions that would have been thrown to me. So once you do that, you're going to be having these. So you can see now this project is set up well. So if I go to Q&A, I should have the package.json that is describing this project. So the name of the project is Q&A. So this microservice is Q&A, and the version is 1.0. So I can put in anything I want. I can put in the description and some keywords. The author, I can write in my name here, Augustine Emeka, and the rest. So that is how to set up a project in Node.js. So you can try this same thing out for the other project, for the other microservices. So I'm going to quickly go out of this by saying cd dot dots in order to go out of Q&A. So I'm back into the microservice folder. So I can move into the, say, the auth microservice by saying cd auth. So I'm now in auth microservice. So I can simply also say npm, please help me and initialize this project, and say yes for all the questions. So now I also have the package.json in the auth service. So if I click the auth service now, I can see the package.json. I can see that the name is now auth, and I can see the various other descriptions. So this is the basic setup of a project using Node.js, because Node is what we are using for these various microservices that we've already created. Okay, so that is the number one thing. So I'm going to go back to my Q&A service, which is the one I'm concentrating on. So I'm going to say cd dot dot to move out of the auth, then say cd and move into the Q&A service. So I'm back into the Q&A service. So I'm going to try to create to spin up a server here. So I'm going to simply say, you can see I'm in Q&A. I'm going to simply make another directory. I'm going to say make dir, and the name of this directory is going to be src, which is source. So I press the enter key. So now if I go to my Q&A microservice, I can now see src. So inside the src, that's where I want to create my index.js file. So I'm going to move into that src by saying cd src. So now I'm into the src folder. So here I'm going to create a new file known as index.js. And in order to create a new file, you use the Linux command touch, and I'm going to call it index.js. Like I told you before, I'm going to improve this and start using TypeScript. You're going to see how I do that. So you're also learning how to start up with JavaScript and enter TypeScript. So once you say touch index.js, now if I open this src, I should be able to see index.js. You can see it here. So this is the index.js that I just created. So I'm going to simply say console.log in a bracket, and inside quotes I'm going to say hello, welcome to these microservices series. Okay, so I'm gonna do in order for me to save this. So I now have this file. In order for me to run this file, I'm already in the SRC, so I can simply say node index. This is how to run a node file, index.js. So if I press the enter key, I'm gonna see this console.log out here. Hello, welcome to Microservices series, which is exactly what I have here. So anything you have here, you can run it and it will come out here. But that is not what I want to do. I want to be able to run a basic Node.js server that is going to be looking at port 8000 or port 3000, because we are going to eventually be using this to create REST APIs. Okay, so I'm going to quickly install some of the things that I'll be using for this. This backend is going to be an Express backend. So Express is a package that will enable us to easily spin up a Node.js server. So what I'm doing for the Q&A service is similar to what I would do for the auth and the LMS and the payment service when I start, and a little bit different from what I would be doing for the front ends, which I'm going to be using React for and Node.js for. Okay, so let me keep moving. So now I'm going to import some packages that I'm going to be using, and I'm going to say npm install. So I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to be installing Express. So that is how you use npm to install something. So simply say npm install, then the name of the package. So the first package I'm going to be installing in the Express, because I don't want this to be a console app. I want it to be a fully fledged web app. So I'm going to be using Express to scaffold a server for this very application. Okay. So let's wait for Express to finish installing and you can see what it's going to do. So let me quickly open the package.json so that you can see that as Express is installing, we'll see the impact of that on this. Okay. Very importantly, I'm supposed to actually be in the folder for the Q&A, but let's get it finished up and we can move forward. Okay. So Express is being installed in this project now. So once it's done, we can continue. It's taking a little while, but very soon you're going to see it. So once it is installed, you're going to see it as one of the dependencies for this. Okay, so you can see dependencies Express version 4.1, 8.2. So you can see that Express is now installed into this very project. So Express is now in this project. So because I have Express now, I can now write a simple node application. Now, if you want to write a simple node application, it's not what I'm going to be writing here. You're not supposed to memorize it, because you're going to be seeing these in many places, and I'm going to be dropping you a reference material where you can use to write out this very simple node application that you're going to be using for this. So you can either delete what I already have here, or you can just write out your new Express application. Okay, so let's do this immediately. So I'm gonna show you what it means to comment. So you can put double / in order to put in a comment. So we're going to be starting with CommonJS way of writing, then we're going to go into we are going to be using the import method as we move forward. So I'm going to teach you how to change from using CommonJS to using the import model method. Okay, so let's start out by bringing in the Express that we just installed. So I'm going to say const Express equal to require. Okay, require, then in brackets and inside quotes I'm gonna put Express. So this is how you bring in a package in Node.js. Simply say const the name that you want to get, the variable name of the package, then require the main name of the package. So that is how you bring in an Express app. So to initialize an Express app, after you must have brought in the package into your application, you simply say const app equal to Express. So you simply say const app equal to express. Then you make sure you put the what's it called, the brackets, in order to show you that this is actually an express app. So you are initializing an app as an express app. So with this now you can say app.get, app.listen, because this app now with this variable name app is now express. So it can actually have those functions that come with express. Okay, but we want to also make a port for this so that we can easily dynamically write this application. So I'm going to say const port, the port that this application is going to be listening to, and I'm going to say port 3000. It can be port 8000. It can be anything you want it to be. Okay, let me call it 8000 because I would want my React application to have the port number of 3000. Okay, so once you do this, you can now simply say app.get. So app.get now is a function that you can write because app is now an express application. So app.get, hope you're not using code completion to scatter my code. Okay, so app.get /. Once somebody goes to the URL and puts localhost 8000 /, what do I want to happen? So what do I want to happen? What do I want to happen? So I'm going to simply use a callback, and I'm going to say request and response. Those are the two arguments that this callback takes. I'm going to put my fast arrow for the arrow function, and I'm going to open up my curly brackets, and I'm going to write in what I want to come out when somebody visits this very route. So what I want to happen is that I want to say response dot send, and I want to simply send, make sure this is in quotes, hello, welcome to the Q&A service, Q&A service. So I'm going to do this for all the services, so that's why I'm calling this Q&A service. So I'm going to say Control S in order for me to save. So this is the first route that I'm writing. Then this route, I'm going to listen to it at a port. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to say app.listen. So once you say app.listen, it takes an argument. The first one is the port that you've already described. You can see that port here is 8000. So once I tell it the port, then I'm going to write a callback function here. And I'm going to put the fast arrow, the arrow function. And then with the curly brackets, I'm going to tell it what I want to happen. So I'm going to simply, once this server is up, I'm going to simply console.log. And what am I going to be logging out? I'm going to put this in a template retry in order to write what I want. I'm going to say listening on port. So what port number am I going to be listening to? So I've already said what the port number is here. So I'm going to simply say port. So it's going to say listening on port 8000 because port is 8000. So once I do this, I think I'm good to go. So I'm going to simply save this file. So this is a basic Express server. So I'm going to come down here and try to run this file. First of all, I'm going to quickly go to cd ... so that I can go back to the Q&A file. So this is where I will run this application now. So in order for me to run this application, I'm going to simply run node index. That will be node index.js, but I know that index.js is inside the src. So I'm going to say node, then I'm going to say src / index.js. So I'm going to press the enter key. So you can see listening on port 8000. So if I go to my web browser now and try to get to port 8000, so if I go to localhost port 8000, I should be able to see this. So this is localhost port 3000, but I want to go to localhost port 8000. So if I press the enter key, I I should be able to say, hello, welcome to Q&A service. So I'm in the Q&A service. So similar thing that I've done for this Q&A service, I can do it for the other services. So I can simply stop the server by doing Ctrl C. So the server is stopped. So I will see cd dot dot to get out from our Q&A service. So I'm going to go now into the auth service by doing cd into the auth service. So I'm now in the auth service. Then inside the auth service, I'm going to say make gear in order for me to create the SRC for the auth service. So if you're looking here, you can now see auth service now is having SRC. Okay. So inside the SRC now, inside this very inside the auth service, I'm gonna install Express there. So I'm gonna say npm. So first of all, if I open the package.json for this, you can see there is no Express there. This is still the basic auth service that we have. So I'm gonna say npm install, and I'm gonna say Express. So if you wait now, you're gonna see dependency, and you're gonna see Express as one of the dependencies. So inside there, I'm gonna also go into the SRC and create the index.js for this very application. And okay, you can see now there is dependencies and there is now Express. Also, you can see that there is node module. So this node module is going to be having the folders for any installed package. Okay, so I'm gonna now quickly move into the SRC of the auth folder by simply saying cd src. Okay, so I'm now into the SRC. So I'm gonna use touch command to create the index.js. Okay, so when you now open the SRC here, you should be able to see the index.js. So it's still empty. So because it's empty, I can simply get to the index and the Q&A because it's just the same thing. I'll do Ctrl A. So Ctrl A, Ctrl C to copy it, and then go to the index of the auth, paste it out there. So, but instead of saying Q&A service, I'm gonna be having these as auth service. So I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna make this one to be at port 801. So the other one is at port 8000. This one is port 801. So I'm gonna save. So once I save this, go back to the terminal, and I'll do cd dot dot to get back into the auth. So here I can now run my node, and the index is inside src slash index.js. Okay, so I'll run the you can see listening on port 801. So it's now 801. So if I now get back to my browser, this is port 8000. So if I go to port 801, I should now see hello, welcome to auth service. So you can see now I have two servers running. I have two servers that I've created, actually not running because I initially closed the other one. So, but I have two services. I have the auth service, and I also have the Q&A service. So that is how you set up your basic. That's how you spin up your basic server. So you can see this is the first endpoint that we're having, the slash endpoint, and you get it by simply saying app.get. In future, we're going to be having our controller, the API, the routes, as well as the models. So you can see how this is progressing. So you can see that the auth service is listening on port 8001, whereas the Q&A service is listening on port 8000. So we're going to be looking at how we can use Nginx or any API gateway to route the request that the client is going to be making to either of these routes in order for us to get what we want in our service. So we're going to be improving with this. So in the subsequent class, I'm going to be teaching you how to set up Copilot, and we'll continue moving like this. Thank you. See you when I see you.